interception of the flotilla. We go back to Madison Bannon. She's activist and organizer managing digital content with the global Sumud Flotilla, South Africa, specifically that delegation. Madison, good afternoon yet again. Firstly, the state of those who are on the flotilla, are they safe?
Thank you so much for having me. So what happens when a boat is intercepted by the Israeli Navy is that they cut all communications and the activists throw their phones overboard into the ocean. So they started intercepting around 9 p.m. That boat was called the Alma. That's when they took Nkosi's Mandela. He had already thrown his phone overboard the night before after Israeli intimidation. But we can expect a communications blackout from that moment of interception until the activists are with their lawyers. We have lawyers inside occupied Palestinian territory, friendly lawyers, that will meet with them and then help them work through their next options. So we're expecting a communication blackout for at least 12 hours. We're past 12 hours from Nkosi's interception now, and there have been more interceptions since. So we're waiting until we can get a hold of their lawyers, or their lawyers will get in touch with us and their families.
So you are as much in the dark as we are. At least the only thing that we all have seen is just that video on social media, which purportedly is those of Israeli forces who have surrounded some of those who were on the flotilla. Is that all you know at this point?
So we were watching the feed since yesterday. So I actually found 10 a.m. one of our activist boats being intercepted. It was a small sailboat with about 8 activists on it being approached by a large Israeli military vessel. And then their comms were cut. We've had reports of further interceptions of other boats, but we don't have direct communication with the activists until they are with their lawyers. And what was the route to be taken to ensure the aid actually makes it to the enclave? Because this has been emphasized by our correspondent Blake Sifton that we were speaking to a bit earlier, that there was honestly never going to be a time where Israel would have allowed for the passage or safe passage thereof. Sure. So there have been a number of flotillas since the illegal siege on Gaza began in 2007, one of which has made it actually to Gaza's shore. The intention was always to get as close to Gaza as possible and then to hold a humanitarian corridor so that states could bring in the needed humanitarian aid. The boats themselves are small. They were never going to hold enough aid to make a significant difference for the nutritional value of what people need in Gaza. But the idea was to hold that humanitarian corridor and allow states to follow through with significant aid. The amount of aid needed in Gaza is something like at least 600 trucks worth of aid coming in every single day. There have been thousands and thousands of trucks languishing along the borders of Gaza that Israel has not allowed in. And so this is the most available pathway to get aid in at this point.
All right. Madison, thank you very much for that update.